Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to create objects from a CSV file. So we are going to populate the Django ORM database based on this simple CSV file where we have some rows and each row will be a separate object, and we have some columns, and if we look at the column titles, these are going to be the fields in our sale model. We will have one more additional called total, and this is going to be the total price calculated based on the quantity value and the price for a particular product. So we have 3 products: TV, PlayStation and iPad, and each of those products will have its own price. To see how this works in practice, let's take a look at the admin first. We have no objects over here, and now let's go to the page. Here we can simply select a file. Let's select the sales data CSV. Let's open it up, press confirm, and now let's refresh the admin. And here are our objects. So as you can see, we also have the total price, which, as mentioned before, is calculated based on the choice of the product and the quantity, of course. Alright guys, so without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so before we dive deeper into code, I just want to give you a short overview on what have I done so far. So basically I created 2 applications, CSVs and sales, but before that I created, of course, a Django project which I called upload proj. Inside of this project folder we have, among others, settings py and urls py. So currently I have settings py opened, and if we scroll down we have installed app list. And here I added CSVs and sales, so I added those applications to this installed apps list. And then I also added some information about the templates, so Django will know where to look for them. In a second we are going to create inside the src folder a templates folder, and over there we are going to store our Base.html. So basically in this project we will have only one view and one template necessary. However, let's do this the right way in case if we would like to later on expand this project. So we will allow template inheritance. Other templates will later on be able to inherit from our Base.html. So if you don't know how template inheritance work, I will show you this just a little bit later. Okay, so this is for the templates, and also I added some settings for the media URL and the media root. We won't be using static files, so here we have in the comment what are static files. We won't be using them, but we need media files, so we will be uploading our CSV file with some sales data, and this media URL and media root are necessary, and we also need them in our URLs py. We need to include them in the URL patterns, and this is what I did over here. I imported settings, I imported static, and I included those settings in the URL patterns. So now let's jump into CSVs and let's open up models.py file, and let's create our first model. So this is going to be a pretty simple one. Let's call it CSV, and let's allow it to inherit from models.model. And the first file that we are going to have is going to be the file name, and this is going to be a models file field, and we are going to put in upload to, and let's put in CSVs. So inside the media folder we are going to have a CSV folder where we are going to store all those files. Also, what we would like to have is maybe the upload time, so I'm going to put in uploaded field, and this is going to be a models date time field with auto now add is equal to true, so we will know when the particular file has been uploaded. And finally we will also want to have an activated field, and this is going to be a models boolean. and this is going to be default equals to false. So whenever we upload a file, we would like to have first this file set to false, and when we finish processing this file and populating the sales model, which we are going to create in just a second, then we are going to simply change this activated into true. So this is something that we will do in the views.py file a little bit later. And finally, let's return a string representation. So in this case, I would like to return, and yeah, let's do it like this: file ID, and this is going to be just self.id. Alright, so we have our CSV model ready. Let's register it in the admin so we will be able to see it in the admin. And from .models import CSV, and then we need to write down admin site register, and let's put in CSV. Alright, so we are done for now with the CSVs. We can go to the sales. So over here we need to open up models.py, and let's define a new class, sale, and this also inherits from models.model. And over here the first field will be the product, and this is going to be a models char field, and we are going to specify the max length is equal to 200, and we will need some choices. So we are going to set the choices to product choices, and we need to set them up. So above the class, let's add those product choices. So we need to open up a tuple, and inside the tuple we are going to create 3 tuples. So the first one will consist of TV and TV. So this is the value for the database purposes, and this is the readable, human readable value. So on the left is related to the database, and this is something that we are going to see in the admin when we open up those choices in the product field. Alright, so we also need an iPad, and let's also add a PlayStation. Alright, so basically we don't need to have here 200. We can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's put in 11. Okay, and let's add a salesman, and this is going to be a models foreign key to the user. So we need to import our user model. So from Django contrib auth models import user, and we are going to pass the user, and we need to specify on delete is equal to, and we will use models cascade. Okay, I opened up the terminal. So whenever a salesman, a user in this case, gets deleted, this sale object will get deleted as well. And let's also put in quantity, and this is going to be a models positive integer field, and then we will have a total, and this will be models float field, and we are going to set blank is equal to true. So this is going to be a value calculated automatically. Depending on what product we select, we will have a price, and if we put in the quantity, we will know how many items we sold. So we can simply multiply the price, for example, for the TV times the quantity and store it in this total field, and we will override the save method for this. So this is coming very soon. And let's also put in the updated, and this is going to be models date time field with auto now is equal to true, and we will do a similar thing, but instead of updated we would like to know the created. So here we just need to change auto now into auto now add is equal to true, and we will have the value when it's created stored in this created field. All right, so let's add a string representation. And let's return maybe self product and self quantity, or you can put in self total, for example. I'm just going to stick with quantity. Okay, so this is for the string representation, and now we need to override our save method. So let's write save, which takes in self, args, and keyword args, and initially we are going to set the price is equal to none, and then depending on the value in the product we are going to change it. So first of all, we can write down if self product is equal to TV, then let's say the price is going to be $559.99. Then let's do an elif and self product, and let's grab the iPad. So I made a typo, sorry about that. Is equal to iPad, and in this case let's say the price is going to be 400. And let's do another elif self product is equal to PlayStation. So in this case let's set the price to maybe $464.99. all right, and then else, and let's write pass. So now we can calculate the total. Self total is equal to price times self quantity. Okay, so we are grabbing this price which changed initially, and then we are going to grab this field quantity for a particular object. That's why we are using the self, and we are going to calculate it. Okay, so finally we can simply write down super and save and args keyword args. All right, so this is ready. Let's also register the sale class in the admin. So over here from .models import sale, and we need to write down admin site register, and let's put in sale. Okay, and now let's go to the terminal. In Python manage py make migrations. Okay, where am I? I need to go to src. Here I have access to the manage py file. So Python manage py make migrations. Okay, we have some issue. All right, let's try this again. Python manage py make migration. Okay, this time it worked. So the quotation ending was the problem here? Python manage py migrate, Python manage py run server. And let's try to log into the admin. So I also created a super user. You need to write down a comment, Python manage py create super user, and then provide the username, email as optional, and password. So now, yeah, let's go to the admin. And I'm going to log in. And here are our CSVs and our sales. Alright, so let's go back to Visual Studio Code and let's continue working on this. So the next thing that we will need is to create a forms.py file where we will create our form for the CSV's model. So this is going to be a model form based on the CSV model. So let's create a forms.py file and let's import forms from Django import forms. And as mentioned before, this is going to be a form based on our model. So we need to write down from.models import, and we want to import the CSV model. So let's create another class and let's call it CSV model form, which will inherit from, this time not models, but forms.model form. Okay, and here we can use the class meta to indicate that we want to have this working on the CSV model, and we want to specify the fields. And let's open up a tuple, and here we are going to pass a single field, which is the file name, and let's add a comma. So now we have a form ready, so we can actually go ahead and save it. And let's go to the views.py file. Here we are going to create a function view, and we are going to call it upload file view, which takes in a request, and it will return render, and we are going, when we will have the template, we will return something more, but for the setup, let's just write down return, and we will need a HTTP response. So let's actually import it from Django HTTP import HTTP response. So we can return for now HTTP response, and let's just write down here, or drop a file here, something like that. So we can actually save this, and what we need to do is to provide some URL for this particular view. So we could do it directly into our upload project, and we could import this view directly over here, but let's also do it the right way. So we will create another file inside the CSVs. So here I'm going to create urls.py file, and we are going to create all the URL patterns inside of the CSV urls.py file, and then we are going to include them in the main project folder urls.py file. This way it will be much more cleaner, understandable, yeah, and readable. So let's begin. From Django URLs, we want to import path. And then what we would like to have is our view. So from.views import upload file view. Let's set the app name equal to CSVs. And let's open up the URL patterns. I'm going to set this as the main path. So I'm just going to put in upload file view. So this is our view, okay, and let's also provide the name, and this is going to be upload view. All right, so now those URL patterns need to be included in the main project folder. So in the main URLs.py file. And we can do it in a very simple way. We just need to import include. And over here I'm going to define a new path, and this is going to be again the main page, so I'm leaving this as blank. And here include, and we want to go to CSVs and into URLs file, so CSVs URLs, and let's provide the namespace which should match the app name inside of the URLs.py file in the CSVs folder. So we named the CSVs, and now everything should be working. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to head over to the main path, and here we have drop a file here. So now we need to create the templates, and we can begin working on the most exciting part, which is the logic. So let's jump into Visual Studio Code, and let's create first the main templates folder where we are going to store our Base.html. So it needs to go inside the src folder, because we indicated that we are going to keep templates over there. And inside this templates folder, we are going to create a Base.html file. So what I'm going to do is to head over to the browser, and I'm going to grab a template from my blog, from the social network project. So basically it also supports a semantic UI framework, and this is the styling that I'm going to use. And I'm just going to grab everything from here, and I'm going to paste it over here. So I'm just going to change the title to uploads, and yeah, basically we have over here HTML code that will be used in every template that will inherit from this base HTML. But what we need to focus on is those blocks. So you can define a block, give it a name, and over here you are reserving a space for some unique content, which will be put into each template that inherits from base HTML. So my favorite example is that if you have a contact page, the constant is uploads, but here you would have contact us. If you would do a about page, the constant will be uploads, but here you would see about. And in the block content, you could put in, for example, in the contact section, you would put a form for contacting, and in the about, you would put in probably some description, maybe some photos. Okay, so this is how it works. You can define your blocks, and they need to have a beginning and an end, and this is the place where you can provide your unique code. We won't be needing scripts, so the block scripts were reserved for the JavaScript. We won't be needing them over here. We can delete the custom JS over here and custom CSS over here. So yeah, now we are ready to go. We can go ahead and save this file, and we need to create a templates folder inside of our CSVs application. So let's do this right now. Templates, and we need to put in another folder called the same as our app name, CSVs, and then we can create our HTML file, and I'm going to put it as upload HTML. And here, if we want to inherit from base HTML, we need to write down extends and base HTML. Okay, so now we are extending from this base HTML, and we can recreate the blocks. So we had a block title and a block content. So over here I will put in main page, and in the block content, well, we need to put in our form. But the problem is that we aren't passing this form just yet. We need to do some changes in the views.py file. So yeah, let's jump into views.py file. And over here, we won't be needing this HTTP response because right now we have a template and we can return render. And the first parameter is over here, the request. Then we need to indicate the path to the template we want to use. So in our case, we want to indicate that it's in the CSVs. Okay, so CSVs and upload HTML. So this structure that we have over here, that we have a templates folder, and inside of this templates folder we have another folder called the same as our app name, is to avoid confusion for Django, because it can be really problematic if you would have, for example, many applications with many upload HTML files. So this is something that prevents this. Okay, so inside the CSVs application you can have your own upload HTML, and for example in the sales application you could also have your upload HTML. Alright, and then the third parameter is a dictionary. So this is what we are going to pass in to our template. So let's try to pass in our form. I'm going to import our form from forms.py. So from .forms import CSV model form, and we need to instantiate it over here. So form is going to be CSV model form, and over here I'm going to put in request post or none, and request files or none, because we will be dealing with a post request and we will be sending files. So this is the first thing, and to see if this actually works, what I'm going to do is to put in a form. This is so this is a dictionary. Here we have a key, and the value is going to be this variable over here. So this is the name that we are going to use in the template, and this is the value over here. So now we can go ahead and save this, and we can go to upload HTML, and inside the block content we can put in form action, and as mentioned before we are going to use the post method, and let's also add a class. So now we will have styling from the semantic UI, and we also need enc type equals to multi-part form data. Okay, let's close off the form. Let's put in a CSRF token since we are dealing with a post request, and here let's pass in our form. And in order to submit this form, we will have a button type submit with also some class from the semantic UI framework. So let's put in UI button primary. So we will have a blue button over here, and let's put in confirm as the name of the button, and let's close off the button. Let's save it and let's refresh. So here is our here is our form. It doesn't do anything just yet, but this is something that we will change right now. So we need to go to our views.py file, and we would like to check if the form is valid. So we can write down if form, if not from but form is valid, and if it's valid we are simply going to write down form save, and we would like to reset it, so let's just write down form is equal to CSV model form like this. Alright, So now we can go ahead and save this, and we can actually try to upload a file. So I'm going to head back to the admin. Now we don't have any file, so let's try to upload one. I have the sales data on my desktop. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to press confirm, and let's refresh, and here is our CSV file. Okay, so we can, here is the path to this CSV. So it's basically, if we go to the uploads, we have a media folder created, and inside we have a CSV folder created, and here we have the sales data. So this is working. We are one step closer to accomplish our goal. But we need to be sure that we switch this to activated after we do an upload, because we are going to create a query set where we will get only one result, the one which isn't activated, the one that we recently uploaded. So over here, I'm just going to do this manually for now. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to return to Visual Studio Code. And below the form is equal to CSV model form, we are going to create another variable called obj, and this is going to be a CSV, so we need to import our CSV model. So from .models, not migrations, but models, import CSV, and here what we are going to write is CSV and then objects, and then we are going to write down get, and activated is equal to false. And then we are going to do some processing, and once we are done, we are going to switch this obj into activated is equal to true, and then we are going to save this object. Okay, so the next step is to read the data from a file, and in order to do that we need to import CSV, and now we can write down with open, and we want to put in obj, and then we want to refer to the file name and the path, and open it in the read mode, and we can put in SF. So right now we can set a new variable called reader, and this is going to be CSV reader, and we are going to pass in this F. Okay, so now what we can do is to create a loop. So let's write for row in reader, let's print something out. Let's print out the row. But to be more precise, if we take a look at our, where is this file? Sales data. Here we have the first row as titles, so we would like to skip it. And how to do this? We can write down for I row, and then over here we can write down enumerate reader, and yeah, we can check if I is equal to 0, so if we are dealing with the first row, and if this is the case we are going to write down pass, and in other case we are going to write down else and print row. So hopefully this will solve this problem. Let's just save it, and yeah, I'm going to close this sales data file, and I'm going to go to the uploads, refresh the page, and select the sales data one more time and press confirm. So let's go now to our terminal, and here, as you can see, we have all the data, but they seem to be broken. Maybe it's because I'm using numbers. Maybe if you have a file saved in Excel, you won't be having the situation that I'm having, but maybe this is again a normal situation. So yeah, we will need to do some additional processing over here, because let's actually see what we are getting. So I'm going to refresh this page. We have another file. I'm going to set it to activate it again manually, but we will automate this soon. So I'm going to save this, and in Visual Studio Code I'm going to not only print the row but print the type row. Okay, so now I'm going to save this, and I'm going to do an upload one more time. So again, I'm going to select the sales data, confirm, and over here we are dealing with a list. Okay, so let's make a string out of this, and over here what I'm going to do is to simply rewrite this row. I'm going to set it as row and then join and row. Okay, so now if we print the row and the type, let's see what we will have. I am going to go over here and refresh the page again and set this to activated, and let's try this out again. So select the files, sales data, confirm, and right now what we have is a string. Okay, and it's looking like this. So it's looking a lot better actually. So let's try to replace those marks over here with a space, an empty space, and then let's try to bring it to the list again. So how can we do this? Yeah, we can do it in a very simple way. I'm going to write down again row is equal to row, and we are going to use the replace method. And what we want to replace is this mark over here, and we want to replace it to this empty space. And then what we want to do is to split it. So row is equal to row and split like this. So now let's save this, and yeah, maybe we can go over here and simply outside of this for loop create obj, rewrite the obj as activated equals to true, so you don't have to yeah, set this manually. So over here we are setting obj activated is equal to true, and then obj save. All right, so just be sure to put it outside the loop. And now if we go ahead and save it, we still probably need to set the file ID4 to be activated, but now this problem should be gone. So I'm going to refresh it, and I'm going to put in sales data again, confirm, and we have it again in the list, but right now we have the items split. So this is looking much nicer. And if we go back to the admin, we hit refresh, we already have this as activated. Okay, so this is already automized. So now what I'm going to do is to look at the sales data CSV again, and here we have column 1, which is actually 0. Then we have the first, the second, and the third. So if we go back over here, we can comment out those prints, and we can set the product to be equal row 1. Okay, and we will also bring it to the uppercase like this. Okay, so we have the product. Let's also provide the user, and in this case we are going to write down user. Do we have the user imported? We don't have, so we need to import the user model from Django contrib auth models import user. and we can now use it over here. So user objects get, and yeah, let's put in the username to be equal, and now we need to refer to this table again, and the username is provided over here. So we have 1 2 0 1 2 3, third column, so row, and then we need to put in 3. So over here, just be sure for practice, if you are following along with this tutorial, to provide the username that you that you provided while creating the super user. So right now we have the product, we have the user, so we also need the quantity, but the quantity we can provide directly when we are going to create a sale object. And we can do it from sales.models import sale, and here right now we can write down sale objects create, and we want to set the product, so this is the field of our sale, to be equal to the product, and then we want to set the quantity to be equal, and let's make sure it's an integer. So now we need to refer to the column, so the quantity is over here, so 0 1 2, so we need to pass inside row 2, and then we can set the salesman, sorry about that, salesman to be equal our user over here. And this should do it. I think we have everything. So I'm going to save this and let's try this out. So if we go to home, okay, maybe we have some issues. Over here, quantity, I forgot about the comma. So now if I save this, I think we are good to go. Refresh, let's go to sales. Nothing is inside over here. So let me refresh this. Let me grab the sales data, confirm, and there it is. This is working. So we populated the database using our CSV file. Congratulations. This is actually the end of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And yeah, for sure in this week I want to finish Django with geolocation. So I want to publish the third part of Django with geolocation, and also I would like to publish 2 parts on the social network project. Alright guys, so thank you once again, and hopefully we will see each other soon. Take care and bye bye.